Hey guys, Dalek44 here. As you can tell by the title of my channel, I love Doctor Who. And the only thing I love more than Doctor Who is the Daleks. Yes, the Doctor's greatest enemy. If they weren't around, Doctor Who wouldn't be what it is today. So today I'm counting down my top 10 Dalek episodes. And just note, this is all opinion, not fact. It's strictly opinion. Plus, two-parters will be counted as one whole story because, well, they are one whole story. So anyway, these are my top 10 Dalek episodes. Number 10. Destiny of the Daleks. A lot of people don't like this episode, not even Mr. TARDIS reviews, and I can understand why. But just hear me out. The Doctor and Romana go back to Skaro, where they meet up with a robotic race known as the Mavellans, and it turns out that they're at war with the Daleks, and the Daleks are digging underneath their city to find something. And then the Doctor soon discovers that they're looking for their creator, Davros. And Davros revives himself even though he got shot by the Daleks in Genesis of the Daleks, and the Daleks find him and use him to upgrade their war computers so they can win against the Mavellans. But unfortunately, Davros knows that the Doctor can reprogram the Mavellan battle computers and counteract any advantage. So it's an all-out war against the Mavellans and the Daleks. The bad things about this episode are quite obvious. They take the piss out of the Daleks. They make them sound like they're robots and that there's no creature inside them. It's like they've somehow forgotten that the Daleks are living creatures, and it seems pretty stupid that the only thing that can beat the Daleks is a bunch of robots. That's pretty stupid. But the only good things about the episode are the scenes with Davros and the Doctor. It's brilliant seeing them work off each other, like scientist versus mad scientist. It is pretty fun to see them both work off each other, because even though they hate each other and want to kill each other, they have some kind of respect for each other because their intelligence are equal. Davros loves to talk to the Doctor as both enemies and men of science. Those are the only reasons I like Destiny of the Daleks. And I can't get enough of the ending scene when the Doctor defeats a Dalek with his hat. So, Destiny of the Daleks is low on the list. Number 9. Remembrance of the Daleks. This was the last Dalek episode for the classic series before it was cancelled. The Daleks travel back to the 1960s to find a device known as the Hand of Omega. Whoever possesses the Hand of Omega can become the Lords of Time. And it turns out that the Doctor and Ace find two races of Daleks. The Imperial Daleks, led by the Emperor Dalek, and the Renegade Daleks, owned by the Supreme Daleks. They both want the Hand of Omega, so it stages in an all-out civil war. And you know what? That's pretty good. I like how at the end they reveal the Emperor to be Davros the whole time. No, when you first hear his voice, you kind of suspect it from the start. But what makes the episode really great is seeing two Daleks go at war against each other, and how it looks like Davros is going to win, but instead he destroys his own planet. Plus, you pretty much know that he's going to come back after that episode, because the Daleks say that his escape pod left the mothership right before the ship was destroyed. So you knew he was going to come back, you just didn't know when. So, Remembrance of the Daleks, great episode. Number 8. Daleks in Manhattan / Evolution of the Daleks. This was the first Dalek episode to be written by a woman. The Doctor and Martha Jones go back to 1930s New York, where their little detour is cut short by mysterious disappearances at Hooverville, a village where all poor people in New York go to when they lose their jobs. And then we cut to Mr. Diagoras, a man who's working on the building of the Empire State Building, and it turns out that he's employed by the cult of Skaro who escaped the Doctor's slaughter. They used genetic experiments to create a new race of Daleks, but their leader Dalek Sek ends up having to use Diagoras as a new body for himself, which creates the Dalek hybrid. And then eventually Sek wants to create new Daleks that have compassion, so that they wouldn't be hateful creatures. But the other members of the cult of Skaro don't want that, and betray him to create the Daleks to be 100% Dalek. The reasons I like this episode is because of the return of the cult of Skaro. And it's a pretty good idea of creating a human-like Dalek. especially since they got Nick Briggs to still do the voice while the actor playing Diagoras did the miming. And it shows off the Doctor's hatred to the Daleks once again. But not just because they destroyed Gallifrey, but this time it was because they caused him to lose Rose. He even attempted to sacrifice himself to save everyone in Hooverville. That's pretty dark. And to be honest, I actually thought the Dalek would be the longest surviving Dalek in the show. So it was a bit of a disappointment for me when he became a human hybrid, and then when his own team killed him. But oh well. At least Dalek Khan survived. So those stories are really great. Number 7. The Pandorica opens and the Big Bang. Yeah, I know I'm cheating here, this is technically not a Dalek episode, but the Daleks are in it. That counts as something, doesn't it? The Doctor, Amy and River Song get a message from Vincent van Gogh telling them that the Pandorica is opening. So they go to Stonehenge in Roman times to discover what's inside the Pandorica, only to find out that everything that hated the Doctor is coming to the Pandorica as well. The Doctor and his team think that they all want the Pandorica so that they could take control of the universe, but it turns out that it was all just to trap the Doctor because they thought that he was going to destroy the universe. Then the universe is being destroyed after their attempts fail, so the Doctor makes up a plan to create the Big Bang too, to reboot the universe. This was one of the greatest episodes of Doctor Who because it was the first time we saw loads of the Doctor's enemies together, like the Daleks, the Cybermen, the Sontarans, the Judoon, the Sycorax, even a Weevil. A freaking Weevil from Torchwood made it into the episode. And that's gotta be a great episode. But out of all the villains, the Cybermen and the Daleks steal the spotlight. And this was the first time a Doctor Who episode actually did make me cry. Ah, shut up! It's a great episode and a great way to reveal them working together for the first time. And I can't get enough of the Stone Dalek scene when it was a pussy around River Song. So, emotional and funny episodes. I love them. Number 6. Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways. This was Russell T Davies' first series finale ever written, and it was the first best one too. The Doctor, Rose Tyler and Captain Jack Harkness are transported to a game station which is actually Satellite 5 100 years later. The game station is filled with games that kill people, and the Doctor has to find out who's in charge of the place. But it turns out that the games don't actually kill people, it just teleports them to Dalek ships that are hiding above the Earth. And it turns out that the Daleks survived the Time War because of the Emperor Dalek, and soon it goes to all-out war against the humans and the Daleks. And the Dalek Emperor nearly won until Rose Tyler came back after absorbing the Time Vortex. This episode was enjoyable because you didn't know who was going to come out alive, and it was a big reveal that the Emperor was behind all this, well, except for the Bad Wolf thing. And it's the first time in ages you get to see an army of Daleks attacking humans. Now that's got to be worth something. You've got to give them credit where credit's due. Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways will always be known as one of the best Doctor Who finales. Number 5. Victory of the Daleks. I know a lot of people don't like this episode either, but just hear me out. The Doctor and Amy Pond go back in time to 1941 war-torn London, where they meet up with the Doctor's old friend Winston Churchill, who has something really special to show the Doctor. Professor Bracewell's new inventions, the Ironsides, who actually turn out to be Daleks. And that was a big shock, Daleks working for humans. Then it turns out the Daleks actually wanted the Doctor's testimony to activate a device known as the Progenitor, that contained 100% pure Dalek DNA. And the new Dalek paradigm is created, and they escape back to the future, and the Doctor is left to try and stop them whenever he next meets them. A lot of people dislike this episode because of the new Daleks, and I can see why. They don't look as mechanical as the original Daleks, and you didn't get much of a chance to see their power and what they were capable of. So they're pretty much judging from appearance rather than what's inside them, besides the mutant. And like Mr. TARDIS Review said, this should have been a two-parter episode so that we could see more of the new Daleks. But we'll get a chance to see more of them this year, I hope. And the reason this is on the list is because it was the first time the Daleks actually won for once. Plus we get to see more of the Doctor's anger and hatred towards the Daleks, which brought him to attack one of them with a giant spanner. Now that is kind of funny, and dark as well. Plus it's interesting to see the Doctor and Winston Churchill having a friendship with each other. Now that's definitely worth number 5 on my list. Number 4. Dalek. Yeah, it's just called Dalek. The Doctor and Rose Tyler are flown off course by a distress signal from 2012 in an alien museum in New York, where a famous man who owns the internet, Henry Van Staten, is keeping a live Dalek in his cell. Rose Tyler accidentally releases the Dalek, and it goes on a killing rampage. Everybody knew that this was going to be a badass episode because it was rated 12, and it had a Dalek in it. Plus it was the first time the Dalek actually was able to fly up the stairs, because in the classic series they could never go up the stairs, which was their only weakness. So think you're safe from the Daleks by going upstairs? Think again. In the past you were okay, but today you're fucked. Plus, in my opinion, this episode shows Christopher Eccleston's finest performance, mainly with him working off with the Dalek, showing off the Doctor's anger and hatred towards the Daleks, and the fact that they destroyed his home planet, which makes him want to see them all destroyed for good. That was the darkest we've ever seen the Doctor. Brilliant episode. Number 3. Genesis of the Daleks. Yeah, I bet you all knew this was going to be on my list. So what's the story? The Doctor, Sarah Jane Smith and Harry are sent back to Skaro by the Time Lords to stop the creation of the Daleks, where they run into the creator himself, Davros. And the Doctor is torn with a choice, either letting the Daleks live and cause destruction throughout the universe, or destroying them. This was a really good episode because it wasn't exactly about the Daleks, it was mainly about Davros and the creation of the Daleks. But what makes this episode stand out is the relationship between Davros and the Doctor. I mean, they work brilliantly together, especially since it's Tom Baker and Michael Wisher. They were just brilliant working off each other. Plus Davros' death was a death I didn't see coming. And after that I actually thought that we would never see Davros again. That is until Destiny of the Daleks. So Genesis of the Daleks is a great story that it deserves number 3 on the spotlight. Number 2. Army of Ghosts and Doomsday. Yeah, I know this is technically a Cyberman story, but yeah, it's on the list anyway. The Doctor and Rose finally discovered the Torchwood Institute after so many years of hearing about it but not knowing anything about it. It turns out to be a place where they steal alien technology that fell to Earth, and they have this ability to bring ghosts through a rift, thanks to a void ship. But it turns out that the ghosts are actually an army of Cybermen from Pete's world, and it turns out that the sphere is actually owned by the Cult of Skaro Daleks. Now that was a big shock for everyone when they came out. I mean, you watch Army of Ghosts near the end and holy shit, Daleks! And then Doomsday carries on from it, and it was the first time the Daleks and Cybermen met each other, and they go to an all-out war against each other. Well, at first the Cybermen proposed an alliance with the Daleks, which they denied. Of course. So it goes to all-out war. And the ending of this episode did bring a little tear to my eye, but not as much as the Pandorica opens in the Big Bang, because it was sad having to say goodbye to Rose Tyler. So this became another great Doctor Who finale by Russell T Davies. And the number 1 Dalek episode is The Stolen Earth and Journey's End. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could see this one coming. The Doctor and Donna Noble go back to Earth to find that it's been stolen by someone, and it turns out that Earth was stolen by the Daleks, who steal 26 other planets, including Clom. Who'd want Clom? The Doctor and Donna find Earth and all the other planets at the Medusa Cascade, where they're held by the Daleks, the Supreme Dalek, and Davros, creator of the Daleks himself. And it's a race against time to save the universe from Davros' latest creation, the Reality Bomb, capable of destroying all of reality, even every parallel universe that ever exists. So it was another harebrained scheme to make the Daleks the only life forms in existence. This episode was really great because it was the first time we got several companions together, like the Torchwood team, Harriet Jones, Martha Jones, Mickey Smith, Jackie Tyler, Rose Tyler, Donna Noble, even Sarah Jane Smith. Now it made sense for them bringing Sarah Jane Smith in because she was the first companion to meet Davros. And Julian Bleach did a brilliant job playing Davros. I mean, he was shit your pants scary. So yeah, this is a great story, and it will always be dubbed the #1 Dalek episode. So these are my top 10 Dalek episodes, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you Doctor fans have your own top 10 Dalek episodes, so if you do, get them out there and see what other people have to say. This is Dalek44, leaving ya. Ciao.